truly believe in the magic.
What's up, Magic fans? Welcome to Penny for Your Thoughts, Orlando Magic UK's weekly podcast. This is episode 72, and we're recording on Thursday, the 17th of October. As always, I'm joined by my two comrades, one from up north and one from down south. Mr. Bacon, how are we, my friend?
All right, mate. Wait, bracing for the weather, bracing for the winds. Can be grim up north, you know.
That's just Paul.
Yeah, definitely, mate. There's always wind associated wherever I
am. Good man. And you good, Mikey? I hear you've been windows down for the storm.
Yeah, I've been sticking the windows back together, ready for the winds tonight. Yeah, all good, mate. Thank you.
Excellent. Glad to hear it. So we're delighted to be joined this week by Orlando Magic UK member Gari Clark from Reading, just back from New York a couple of weeks ago, where he's been to watch some basketball. How are we, Gary? You good, mate?
Good, mate. I'm all good. Yeah, you guys all good?
Oh, yes.
Thank you, mate.
It's nice to have you on, mate.
Thank you very much. It's an honour. It's been a while because we've been trying to sort of schedule it, but obviously now we've got to it. So it's all, yeah, I'm pleased to be here.
Yeah. Before we go on, tell us about the games you went to see at New York, mate.
So, yeah, we got there on a Sunday and we went to see Knicks on the Tuesday at Madison Square Garden, because literally Madison Square Garden was right around the corner from where we were staying. It's an amazing arena. It's obviously got a lot of history. It's one of like the sort of icons of the NBA or icons of the arena world, shall we say. It was amazing, but it's not the Amway. Like, I don't really give two hoots about New York, like as a team, the Knicks, and I definitely don't give two hoots about the Nets. So it was an amazing experience. Being there, obviously, it's an iconic venue, but it's not like if the Magic were playing the Knicks, I'd be more sort of into it.
Yeah.
So it was amazing, but at the same time, it wasn't the Amway. And that arena, by the way, is one of the most expensive arenas I've ever been to for food. Like, ridiculous. I believe for a beer, it was like $19.
Wow.
Which was like, yeah, it was like, there was people buying like 4 or 5 beers at a time. I was like, they've obviously got a good job or they're just stupid. So yeah, amazing game. Or too drunk, yeah. Amazing game. The Knicks fans were good, a bit rowdy. I think New York have got that sort of reputation, like the Yankees have got that reputation for being rowdy, and the Knicks are a bit similar to that. It wasn't full up, which I sort of expected because it was like a midweek game. It was a Tuesday. But yeah, it's a great experience, but it wasn't the Magic.
It's not home, is it?
Say that again, sorry?
Who was it that the Knicks played, Gary?
Pelicans.
Pelicans, quality.
So nice. Yeah, it was, and then they played I can't remember. They played someone literally the day afterwards, and they got beat. So we sort of chose a good game to see them win, I suppose. But yeah, it was great. But it just, it wasn't the Magic and it wasn't the Amway, unfortunately. So
yeah, good stuff. We'll get a bit more into that in a little bit. So just a quick affiliate plug time, just so I get it out the way with. Please support today's episode and visit the official NBA store EU or Fanatics using our affiliate links in the description of the podcast. Shop the latest NBA gear and Orlando Magic merchandise, including jerseys, including the City Edition, which are selling quite well, I'm told. Use our discount code MAGICUK10 at the checkout for 10% off the entire order, or use the discount code LIVES on the... Can't speak today. Discount code LIVE on the website for more of a saving. Please note some exclusion may apply. You can also find our links on orlandomagic.uk.com. Right, that's out the way with. Just a bit of Magic news since our last podcast from last week with Mr. Outlaw. Yesterday, play-by-play announcer David Steele was named Florida Sportscaster of the Year. I think it's the second time he's won the award, so congratulations to David. Injury-wise, no change in that Markel Fultz, Jonathan Isaac, RJ Hampton, And now Mo Wagner has joined them, missing the last 4 games with a rib injury. Newly acquired Ball is out for the season after the trade. I believe that is a right foot injury. The trade deadline passed the day after we recorded the last episode. The only move made by the Magic in terms of dealing was a trade to acquire Ball, PJ Dozier, and a future second-round draft pick and cash considerations from the Boston Celtics. We sent a protected second-round pick to Boston, which I don't believe will convey because it's top 55 protected. And we also used a trade exception. That meant that we had to make some roster space. So unfortunately, a favourite of ours, Michael Carter-Williams, was waived, as was Etwan Moore. We subsequently also waived PJ Dozier, who was also out with an injury. So before I move on, thoughts on the moves the Magic made at the deadline, guys? Paul?
Right. There seems to be quite a bit of excitement around Bol coming in. 22 years old, very highly rated by the likes of Shaquille O'Neal. We've not particularly seen him play that often in the NBA so far. So, yeah, I'm more than happy to see another young player come in. And hopefully, once he recovers from the foot surgery, good to see him get an opportunity. Mate, goodbye MCW. I like the guy. He came in. I think he was very much pivotal in us getting into the 2019 playoffs. He never went on that court without giving it his all. You can sum him up by the game 1 in Toronto, fourth quarter, covered in blood, being restrained after taking that accidental elbow from Kyle Lowry, because he's a clean player, he streaming in blood, and he came back to the court. He was a strong guy who worked hard for this team, and I, for one, will miss him. But I can understand why we've done what we've done.
Yeah, Gary, anything to add?
So it's what I sort of expected from us, really. I'm a bit gutted about Michael Carter-Williams because I thought he had that sort of tenacity that we needed. And he seemed to always give it his all on the court. There's some players that don't do that, which are probably coming onto later on. But yeah, so I was a bit gutted about that. I sort of understand why we did it. I think, pretty much what I sort of expected. There was some people online thinking that we was going to trade for Trashbrook and all these other players and like big names. And I was just like, it's really not going to happen. But yeah, it's sort of expected, I think, what we did. So,
yeah. Cool. Mikey?
It was a low risk, high reward move, wasn't it? That we, I think we were all surprised by it, but at the same time, I don't think we should be surprised by anything Jeff Weltman does. And Bol was apparently somebody the Magic were looking at acquiring in the Aaron Gordon deal last year. So he's obviously been on Jeff Weltman and John Hammond's radar for a little while. So yeah, he's restricted. He's a restricted free agent in the summer. So you would like to think, having acquired him in a trade, they would probably bring him back at least on a 1 or a 2 year deal and have somebody else in there to develop. It's another skinny guy. We got to stick some meat on his bones and give him a sandwich. So yeah, we got some work to do. But yeah, he's got a lot of upside. He can handle the ball. He can shoot the three. He's got a bit of shot blocking ability as well. And I think we saw in Denver, he can play several positions. He's obviously got the size to play the 5, but physicality-wise, he's probably more suited to the 4, but as a stretch 4 maybe. But yeah, interesting move.
I think it was nice to see us keep.
Go on, sorry, mate.
I was going to say, I think it was nice to see us keep Gary Harris. I'm pleased he remained. And I think the other thing that none of us have actually touched on is that we still haven't seen what this team can do as a team together. So I'm not overly surprised that they've waited and patience to see where we go once. Hopefully, we see Markel and at some point Jonathan Isaac back in this lineup, because we haven't seen them as part of this young core yet. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, Mikey, I think you're going to have to take Ball to Voodoo Donuts, because the last time we went to Voodoo Donuts, how many donuts did you buy?
Only a couple, mate. Only a couple. It was the day's worth of calories that he needs to get on. He needs a good 8,000 calorie day Bol. But he's got a high metabolism, I'm sure.
Well, I'm sure the invite's open for when we rock into town in October.
Yeah, so if Bol happens to be watching, if you want to beat us at Voodoo Donuts in October, you're more than welcome.
Yeah, I was quite happy with the Bol move myself. The only concern that I do have is a little bit what Mikey just said. He's stick thin, and whilst he's got the height, for me, he's not a centre. All the highlights that I've seen of him is him ball handling. Well, mostly when it was the in the bubble, and he's bringing the ball up. He's shooting the three. I haven't seen much highlights of him working on the block, where you want to see him, where you expect to see him, given his actual height. So hopefully he can get in there. Develop a post game, something I wish Mr. Bamba would be doing, but I'm sure we'll get onto that a little bit later.
I hope you haven't been watching any Chet Holmgren videos yet, G, because he's pretty much the same build as Bol, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, mate. He is, but no, not quite yet. Not quite yet. So Paul just touched upon Gary Harris. So what are your thoughts about re-signing Gary Harris, Mo Bamba this off-season now? Mikey?
Well, I'd like to think the fact that we didn't do anything with Gary Harris at the trade deadline and he's not yet been bought out, it could still happen. It does feel a little bit optimistic that now that he's going to be coming back next season, which I think we're all hoping he does. So I certainly think that's definitely on the cards. Bamba, I always thought he was going to be here after the deadline. I don't think he's going to be back next season. And I'm going to be brutally honest, I'm out on Mo Bamba. Paul has been for a while, and he can talk about that in a minute. But I'm just as, I wouldn't say frustrated with Bamba. I think he just needs a change of scenery and a fresh start. I think that's probably going to be the best thing for him and probably for us, because we've already got Wendell at the 5, we've got JI coming back. If you've had Bol into that, and then you look at some of the players we might be picking towards the top of this draft, we're going to be loaded in the front court and at the centre position. So yeah, it's difficult to see Bamba coming back, but I certainly hope Harris is back next season.
Yeah. Gary?
Yeah, Gary Harris, I'm glad that he's stayed put. I think he's a good asset to have. And like Mikey, I'm hoping that next season that we keep him. As for Bamba, it's weird for me with Bamba because I think he's got massive potential if he worked on his game and his heart. It just doesn't seem like his heart's in it. Every time he sort of steps on the court, it's like, well, I'm getting paid, so that's all that matters. That's the sort of feeling I get from him. And I think, like Mikey alluded to, I think he needs to change. I think we need a change with him, and he needs to change as a player, because it just doesn't feel like he wants to play for the Magic. And it's frustrating because, like I say, he has huge potential, but obviously you've got to have your heart in it to get to that potential. And I just don't see it happening with Bamba, to be honest.
Paul?
I've not been Mo Bamba's greatest fan since we signed him.
Day one.
Since day one. He's just not done it for me. Tremendously nice guy, and I wish him all the well. Wherever he ends up, I wish him well. Mm-hmm. But I don't want to see him remaining beyond this season as a Magic player, unless he actually does hit that potential. I get the feeling that he's almost, for us, the Aaron Gordon of centres. That we've got all this potential. We see 10 minutes of brilliance in a game, and then he disappears. or we see a fantastic game where he does everything. He shoots, he spreads the floor, he gets rebounds, he puts a few points in, he makes a couple of nice blocks, and he gets perhaps a couple of assists. And then the following games, we see nothing. We see nothing from him. Because of that inconsistency, I'm ready to see him move on. So I wish him well. And if and I hope this happens, that between now and the end of the season, he does get that motor and he does get that enthusiasm that he wants to play for us. But I'm not convinced by any stretch of the imagination. I think he's another one of those players that needs a fresh start. Wave him away and wish him well. Gary Harris would keep.
Yeah, Gary Harris would keep. I'm flip-flopping on Mo Bamba. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, I'm done with him. But then, oh man, I don't know. There was a couple of post moves last night that he got it on the block and he finished. You just want to see more of that motor. But what's concerning for me is his minutes. Beginning of the season, he was averaging 32, 33 minutes a game. It's gone down to, 18, 19. And there was one game, I think last week, he played 11, 12, which is quite concerning. So, obviously Coach Mosley's not got that much confidence in him. He starts the game, but he's not finishing the game. And is he not finishing the game because he's not in the right place? Is there mistakes? He needs to be more aggressive. He needs to have a better motor. So I'm on the fence because I don't want them to just move him on and then him to go off and do something good somewhere else. So if we can keep him for a reasonable salary, then I'm for bringing him back just because of his shot blocking ability. When his head's in the game and he can spread the floor. So it's a tough one because if you put Mo Bamba for me up against Ball, I think Bamba's a better player. So it's a toughie, and I'm sure the front office will do the due diligence and do the right thing. Right. So we'll go quickly through this week's recap. Okay. So since we last played, we did go 0-4 as we all predicted. We're no experts, guys, but we could see this
right.
coming a mile away.
I'm just happy to have a week correct.
There's a tiebreaker there.
Mate, I've got to find some silver lining out of the week.
So we played the Utah Jazz first, end of last week. Now we lost 114-99. Wendell Carter led the way with 22 points, 9 rebounds. Second night of the back-to-back, we played the best team in the league, the Phoenix Suns. We lost 132-105. Jalen Suggs had a good game here, scoring 20 points and a career-high 10 assists. We then played Aaron Gordon and the Denver Nuggets. This one was a little bit closer. We hung around a bit more. Franz Wagner led the way with 26, with Wendell Carter chipping in with 12 rebounds. And then last night, if you haven't watched it, probably don't bother. We lost to the Atlanta Hawks, 130-109. Cole Anthony led the way with 23 points. We are now back as the bottom team of the league with a 13-47 record, with 2 more defeats than the second placed Detroit Pistons, who are at 13-45. And they actually managed to beat the Boston Celtics last night. So I was very happy with that because it's always good to see Celtics fans cry. So thoughts on the week? Anything that stood out for you, be it good or bad? Gary, I'll come to you first, mate.
I know we got beat in all the games, but it was expected, right? Like we played the Suns, who are the best in the league. The Nuggets are up there. Atlanta are obviously a good team. So from that point of view, I did not expect us to get much out of them. But the one thing that sort of stood out for me, apart from the Atlanta game, is the rookies seem to have, they have that fight in them. You can see that they're not just giving up, because a lot of a lot of years over gone by, we've sort of got to a point where we're getting trounced and we just sort of gave up. But the rookies they're fighting for it. So they're like a few years ago, I don't think if we was playing like a team like the Suns, if they were that good then, I don't think that the score would have been as close as it was like now. So I think there's that fight. It's just we have to be clever with our plays and stuff like that. That's where it's sort of letting us down. But you can sort of understand it as well because they're rookies. They're still learning their trade. So that's the one thing I sort of like from it is the rookies seem to have that sort of fighting edge to them. And then if we can add a few more pieces, then I think, it would be good.
Cool. Mikey?
I'll start with the bad. Defensively, it's dropped off this week. Again, we're playing 4 very good teams, but when you look over the last 7-8 games, when I think the lowest we conceded was 95, and that was against the Blazers, who had just made a couple of big trades and were without a load of players, and they were playing G League players. That was the only game we won. The rest were conceding 130, 132, 121 against Denver. So defensively, that's dropped off, which is it is an issue, but again, we kind of expected it. The good for me, we've only got 22 games left. I'm just keeping it short and sweet tonight. There you go.
Paul?
Bad first quarters. We've just not given ourselves a chance in any of the games because of those first quarters. We've been playing catch up from the get-go. I don't know what's been wrong. It's been the third quarter previously. Now we seem to have developed that we can play quarters 2 through 4, but we seem to have forgot how to turn up for quarter 1. I think that's been disappointing. Last night, I did think the score actually flattered us. I think they could have. They were way better than the deficit that we trailed by suggested. However, I will say that, as Gary has said, that fighting spirit has been present in 3 out of the 4 games, which has been immense to see. I think it does show progress from the team. The thing I've been really impressed with is Jalen putting the ball on the floor, the pace he's been pushing the team at on the offence. He's made 1 or 2 mistakes. Obviously, there's been 1 or 2 turnovers. You expect that again, like we've said, on many, many occasions. But we do seem to be a better offensive force with Jalen having the ball in his hands, playing fast. He's not allowing defences to settle. And I think that's been really good. The game in Denver, we gave them, I think Denver, Utah and Phoenix, we gave all 3 of them a good game. They had to play the starters right up until towards the end. Denver had to play all the way through. So take the positives, but they've given it a good go. And Jalen's been really, really effective with the ball in his hands. And Cole's starting to get some efficiency back.
Yeah, definitely. That's a positive. For me, the main thing for me was defense, and Mikey's touched upon it. You can't concede 70 points and a half against these teams. And unfortunately, with the young team that we do have stretches where we go 4 or 5 minutes without making a field goal. And you can't hang around with these guys. And you do that, for stretches in games. So, I'd like to see the defense picked up. And as for positives, Wagner and Suggs, it's just their ability to drive to the basket and finish at the hoop. They're high percentage shots. So to have the rookies be able to do that, it's a good foundation for the future. So I'll leave it at that. Okay, now let's get to know Mr. Gary Clark a little bit better. So as I mentioned, he is from Reading. You're not a Reading fan, are you, Gary?
No, I used to sort of go and watch them every so often, like years ago, but I wouldn't class myself as a fan, no.
So tell us, Gary, how did your Magic fandom begin? And tell us about your love of the Magic.
Oh, wow. So it's a while back. So when I was a kid, I used to go to Orlando pretty much every year, sometimes every other year. And it was 1994 was the year that I went over there, and because it was like the Magic were like 5 years old, and then we had Shaq, we had Penny, there was sort of like this excitement in the city about the Magic, obviously a new franchise. And every sports store you went into there with like this jersey, believe it or not, is from 1994. And it must have been like a dress on me back then because it still fits me. I don't know how big it was back then. So yeah, that was when I sort of started getting into like the Magic as such, because I used to have a friend that was into the NBA and he was a glory hunter. He was a Bulls fan because of Michael Jordan, essentially. So obviously I had that sort of connection with the city of Orlando. So obviously going there every other year. And yeah, because of that hype around the Magic at the time, I just went all in from then on out. And yeah, it's sort of stuck ever since. I've been back to Orlando. I can't even count how many times. Seen the Magic loads. And yeah, I had a little sort of lumber period where I was a bit sort of like not towards the Magic as such, but the sort of league in general. I sort of had a few years where I didn't really follow it. But then, yeah, I'm sort of back with an vengeance now. So yeah, so that is how my sort of affiliation to the Magic started.
Cool. So, what's been your overall thoughts on this season, Gary? Has there been anybody that's really impressed you? Who's disappointed?
So I'll start with a disappointment. I sort of alluded to it earlier, was Bamba. I think I don't really need to say much more. It's just that heart. He hasn't got it, that commitment. Most impressed with, I've got a few. So obviously Jalen Suggs has had a good season. It's his first season. Cole as well. But for me, the standout one, which I remember watching the draft party with you guys, and when he got drafted, I was like, and I will hold my hands up and say, hey, I was wrong. I think we all will. But Franz, he's been unbelievable. And I think he's sort of taken to the league so quickly, and he's just going to get better and better. So this season, regarding the season, I think it was what we expected, really, right? It's a rebuild. We've got a lot of young players. I think next season's going to be very similar. So my sort of expectations of it wasn't that sort of high, if I say that. So yeah, I think there's been standout performances from players. As a team, I think we need to improve, but yeah, it was what I sort of expected from this season.
Mate, I know you've had and you've already mentioned it, you've had many a trip to Orlando. So what has been your favourite games that you've attended and experiences of watching the Magic?
Oh, wow. So probably my first game, that was at the old Amway Arena. I miss that place. I know the Amway Centre is amazing, but there was something special about the Amway Arena. It had that, because now sort of sports is more sort of corporate, if you will. So I think we've sort of talked about this in the Twitter chat. We've got the atmosphere sometimes is a bit sort of muted. But the atmosphere at the old Amway Arena was like incredible. And yeah, just seen like some amazing experiences there. Dwight Howard, do you remember his buzzer beater against the Spurs?
Spurs.
Literally. Yeah. We was at that game, which was absolutely incredible. Obviously, my first game was against the Wizards. We won 95-87, I believe it was, because it was my first game. It's always going to have that sort of special sort of feeling in my heart, because it's my first sort of game in America watching the Magic. One game which we actually lost, which was 2012 playoff against the Pacers. I can't remember the score, what we lost at, but yeah, I can't remember, but we definitely lost. But the atmosphere was incredible that game, and that was
the Chris Duhon series, wasn't it, with the travel dance?
Yeah, that
love it.
Yeah, playoff. I've always found that playoff games, there's that special sort of atmosphere with playoff games, because everyone's sort of excited and behind the team. And yeah, although it was disappointing losing, we got beat, obviously, but the good part of it was just how everyone sort of come together, and it was trying to sort of rally the team forward. So it was an amazing atmosphere that night.
So Gary, tell us about your all-time current Orlando Magic player and your current player on the active roster. and any standout moments from your favourites.
Okay, so for me, like my favourite player, it's hard to say one because these two come as a package. Really, is Penny and Shaq. But if I had to choose one, it would be Penny. I just always loved his sort of style of play. He was incredible on his day. It still breaks my heart now that if he didn't have the injuries, I still believe he would be one of the greatest point guards of all time because he was unbelievable. But he just had so many bad injuries. And then obviously the team got broken up. Shaq went off to, you know where. So yeah, I'd say Penny. Penny was phenomenal for me. Shaq obviously as well. Those two together were dynamic. And it's a shame that they did get broken up because if they would have stayed together, I think we would be looking at a few championships together with them two because, phenomenal playing together. But yeah, like I say, Penny injuries, but he was an incredible player. And I still, to this day, I have like arguments with people that say, he wasn't that good. I'm like, he was phenomenal. And without those injuries, he would have been one of the greatest point guards. People would have been talking about him as one of the greatest point guards of all time. So as for the current roster, I'd say Wagner is my sort of one I'm sort of leaning to at the moment, or Suggs. I just love the way that they've got that fight and hustle with them. But I still can't believe that I was so disappointed that we drafted Wagner. And he's been amazing for us, I think. He's just. I don't think anybody expected it, did they? Nobody expected it. The reaction from the Amway said it all, really. I think everyone was like, really? Like everyone, I can't even remember who we said that we wanted at the time, but was it like Kuminga So I think he's done amazing, but I can't remember who it is. It's one of the media outlets in America putting him as number 5 in the Rookie of the Year. That's quite offensive. That I think someone put Cunningham above him. Is it? I haven't watched the Pistons. Has he been any good or?
He hasn't even played that many games. You know, he missed the first, I want to say 15, 20. He's put up a few performances, but you know, he had a stinker against us. He had a 2 for 15 night. You know, Wagner's been quite consistent. He had that. Paul's keeping a tab of his consecutive double figure games in his previews, and I think it hit about 22, didn't it, Paul, or so?
It did 1 point. I mean, he started every game, hasn't he? Let's be fair to that guy. He started every NBA game he's played in, all 60 games. He's got 50 double figure scoring games in that out of that 60, and is it that he's hit 20 points or more, I think, on a dozen or more occasions now. What more do you want from the guy?
It's that small market issue, right?
Yeah.
The media have got that like small market sort of like issue, I suppose.
They don't watch him. The media don't watch him. That's the issue. I think. Tell us. You just mentioned Penny Hardaway there. And obviously you saw Ja Morant with the Grizzlies when you watched the Knicks a couple of weeks ago. I saw a bit of Penny Hardaway and Ja Morant, if I'm being honest with you. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I can see it. He's very sort of explosive like Penny was. Very sort of skillful with it. To be honest, I haven't watched a lot of him. But what I did see, the game against the Knicks, he's a phenomenal player. And if he keeps on going up that level every time, he's going to be some player, because at the moment he's like, let's be honest, when they played against us, he showed us. He was electric. He was ridiculously good. So but I can sort of see the comparisons with Penny Hardaway, but he's no Penny Hardaway. I'm sorry.
Well, I think Mikey's got Damian Lillard has been replaced as Mikey's favourite non-Magic player, hasn't he, Mikey?
Dame's still up there, but Ja Morant's gaining ground on him at the moment. Watching Ja, he reminds me of a little bit of Derrick Rose when he was in his prime, and a little bit of AI. He's got a little bit of a mix of those two. But yeah, no, I love Ja Morant, and he put one on us, and we played them the last
Oh,
week.
it was
Superb,
spectacular.
wasn't he? Superb.
It was spectacular.
So that brings me on to our next question, Gary. Who's your favourite player that doesn't play for the Magic, and who's the player you dislike the most? You've only got to pick one. You can't be like Gene. You got to have half a league's worth, all right?
You got a list, Jeremy.
I'll be honest. I've got two most hated players, but
all right, go for it. Go on. I'll have two.
I'll go with my favourite player first. So if you would have said this like 7-8 years ago, I would have said Derrick Rose. I've always when he was in his prime before his bad injuries with the Bulls, he was ridiculous. Yeah. Obviously MVP and all that. He was like ridiculously good, and I just loved his sort of the way he played. It was very aggressive, and so yeah, I would have said him. But at the moment, I'd probably say Giannis. I like him as a player. I think he's an amazing player, but he's also seems like a genuinely nice guy. So yeah, I've sort of got that. Sort of, I do like Giannis. I think he's definitely. There's a few others, but I think if I had to choose one, I think I would probably go with Giannis. I just like his sort of the way he plays as well, and he's very, very good at what he does, obviously. And I've always seen like clips online where he seems to be very, very friendly with people and sort of helping people out and stuff. So, as for my most hated players, so I've got two. I've got Patrick Beverley is one. I believe he's with the 76ers now, is he? Or
Timberwolves, mate.
Timberwolves. I just don't like that guy. When he played for the Clippers, he just annoys people, and he's just an idiot. He's one of them. I know it's part of his game plan. He's one of those annoyances. I just never really liked the guy, to be honest. But it works because back in the past, the likes of like Charles Barkley used to do it, and that was part of his game plan. So, but yeah, Patrick Beverley is one, and the other one is James Harden, Mr. Arrogance. Never liked the guy, to be honest. I just find him really arrogant, and he just comes across as like he looks after himself rather than like playing as a team player. We've seen people say how greedy he is, don't pass the ball and stuff. So yeah, out of the two, I'd probably swing more towards Patrick Beverley, but James Harden he's like holding hands with him. So,
who won that trade then? The Nets or the Sixers for you?
I think I'd probably say the Nets. Yeah. That whole Ben Simmons sort of merry-go-round is just like really. And I didn't realise he's with Maya Jama, right? That radio. I did not know that. Have you heard of that or? No.
I wouldn't know who Maya Jama was.
Yeah, she's like she does. I think she's Radio 1, I believe, and she's like just like a British sort of radio presenter. And I found out they were together. I was like, okay, but yeah. That was a random fact about Ben Simmons.
But James Harden, did you see what James Harden wore the other day? He looked like some sort of senator from Star Wars.
Yeah. Something looked like something from the 80s. Terrible dress sense. Imagine if we rocked up at the Amway with that on. That'd be
I wouldn't let you in.
No, it was embarrassing. No.
Well, my next question kind of follows on from Mikey's. We all have our trips booked now for October, November. We're all there at some point together. And we're planning on taking in a few games all together. So, Gary, who are you hoping to see the Magic go against? And do you have any game day tips or things that you must do when you go into a Magic game?
So regarding who, I'd like to see play like a big team as such, because it's always nice to potentially get that win over one of the bigger sort of markets or whatever. Regarding who, though, I'm not really fussed, to be honest. As long as I am there watching the Magic, that's it. It can be any team in front of us. But yeah, it'd be nice to see them play the Lakers and beat the Lakers. Because I think Gia agree with me. The whole Laker thing is getting out of hand. Well, to be fair, Lakers are having a terrible season, so next season, hopefully that continues and we play the Lakers.
Smiles.
Yeah. As for like do's and what I do when I go to the Amway, I normally grab food before I go because, I do tend to get something to eat while I'm in the Amway, but obviously arena prices food is ridiculous. But I normally go to like Harry Buffalo's or something like that, or another sort of establishment downtown, grab some food and a few beers or whatever before the game. I like to get there early as well because I like to sort of soak it all in, take it in, get in the Amway, just sort of walk around slowly, just checking stuff out, getting the vibe of it. Because I've never liked, like when I went to the Knicks game, there was people there that were turning up like half an hour into the game. It's just like, if that was me, I wouldn't like that. I like to get there before tip off, like a long time before tip off, just to sort of soak up the atmosphere and get ready for it and that. But yeah, some people just, I suppose it's each person is different. But for me, I like to get there, soak it all up and get some food in me and just check out the team store, that sort of stuff. The usual stuff, basically. Yeah.
I like
Have
to see
you
the warm-ups as well, mate.
Yeah, it's good.
Heard of a place called Hamburger Mary's opposite
Don't let Paul take you there.
I've never been. It's our friends. It's our friends.
I've heard of it.
Story because I don't think you've told this story on the podcast, Paul, have you?
Oh,
well, our friend, when our friends, we went to the. Who did we go see? Clippers. The Magic were playing the Clippers, and our friends not really sports fans, so they decided that they'd have. It was a Friday night game. They decided that they'd have Friday night in Orlando, soaking up an American night out. So we get down to the arena and drop them on Church Street. When we've been in the past, there's always been loads of bars open. Didn't realise that there was so much work going on in the area that half the places were shut down. So they are literally left with the choice of the Lion Bar or Hamburger Mary's or, as you mentioned, Harry Buffalo's. Well, they decided that they fancied a hamburger. So they looked and thought, Hamburger Mary's, that's going to be ideal. Walk up to the door and asked, are you here for the show? Do you want to stay for the show? Oh, yeah, sounds quality. Yeah, excellent. So they pay extra to go into the show, sit down, and they're having the food, nice sort of thing. And they've got absolutely zero idea that the show is a drag act, 3 different drag acts, of which our friend Chris is literally the only straight bloke in the venue. So these 3 drag acts are all zeroed in on him because his wife and daughter, hands up, dollar bills. Come on, over here. And he has these drag acts sat on his knee. He is dying of embarrassment. And there they are feeding dollar bills in to get him more and more attention. We got this message from him saying, how long does the bloody game go on? Because he just wanted out of that venue. Yeah.
Oh, that's
but his
hilarious.
wife and daughter thought it was a great venue.
Wow.
So yeah, Hamburger Mary's, mate. Go on with dollar bills apparently on a Friday night.
Good stuff.
Yeah, cool. Right, so moving on. So last week, our predictions, we all went 0-4, losing to Utah, Phoenix, Denver, and Atlanta. So we did do a tiebreaker, guys, because we wanted to, make sure there was a winner from this week. So the what we decided was who would have the highest point average, and we would take picks. And in fairness, because Paul hosted, he went last, so. He had the drags.
I stitched him up.
So Mikey went first. So I'll just announce who won the tiebreaker this week. So had somebody gone for Wendell Carter Jr., they would have won, but nobody did because he averaged 17.7 points per game. So Cole Anthony was second. So point for me, 16.75 a game. Jalen Suggs was in second, so Paul was second with 16 points per game. Franz Wagner finished with 14.75 a game, Mikey. So wooden spoon for you, mate. Basically, yeah. You picked the wrong one, mate. Picked the wrong horse. So it now stands as Mikey and myself have 7 wins, 8 losses, and Paul is on 6 and 9. So as the Magic
am I not getting a point then for getting 4-0 this week? For getting it right? Am I not getting a point?
0-4. 0-4.
Oh, sorry. 0-4, sorry. Outrageous. Get it right and I still don't score.
Oh, I know.
This is rigged.
I know.
But surely no, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. Right. Anyway, let's move on to this week. So the Magic don't play as we've got All-Star Weekend. We're recording our next episode next Thursday, the 24th of February. So as we have the All-Star break between now and then, just for a laugh, we won't add it to because it's not, Magic related.
Oh, you watch, I'll get this one right then.
Yeah. I'd like everyone to be able to predict the team that wins the All-Star game, an MVP, a 3-point challenge winner, and a slam dunk competition winner. And I'm sure we'll all go for the same person. Right. So before we start that, I will just read you out the teams for the All-Star game. So Team LeBron consists of Giannis Antetokounmpo, Steph Curry, DeMar DeRozan, LeBron James, and Nikola Jokic. The reserves being Jimmy Butler, Luka Doncic, Darius Garland. James Harden was selected, but he's been replaced by Jarrett Allen. Donovan Mitchell, Chris Paul, and Fred VanVleet. Team Durant consists of, would have been Kevin Durant, but he's been replaced by Jason Tatum in the starting lineup. So their team is Tatum, Embiid, Morant, Wiggins, and Trae Young. The reserves include LaMelo Ball, Devin Booker, Rudy Gobert, Zach LaVine, Chris Middleton, DeJounte Murray, and Karl Anthony Towns. Draymond Green was selected, but he was replaced by Murray because of injury. So let's go with Gary first. Let's pick the winning team first, Gar. What are you saying, mate? LeBron or Durant?
I think LeBron, Team LeBron. I just think they've got more there than Durant, Team Durant. I'm going to say Team LeBron, I'd say.
Team LeBron. Okay, Paul?
Team LeBron. By the way, I thought it was hilarious how Durant was trying desperately to avoid James Harden.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
So funny.
That was really amazing.
So uncomfortable the guy was. Really funny. Great TV. I really need to go with some length.
I need height. Quality television. And it was funny with Barkley and the Jet egging him on.
Yeah.
Quality. Fair play. Mikey?
I'm gonna be different. I'm gonna say Team Durant, even though KD isn't going to be playing, but they still got enough players there who can throw up buckets. Devin Booker, Zach LaVine off the bench, Trae Young can shoot the long ball. So, and I'm going to stick with Ja Morant. So I'm going to go Ja and Team Durant are going to win the All-Star game this weekend.
Okay. I don't want to go Team LeBron because I don't like LeBron. So I'm going to say Team Durant just based on that. I'm not even going to look at it. Andrew Wiggins is on the team. That's the only thing. So I should probably say LeBron, but it's LeBron, so I'll say Durant. There we go. So MVP, guys. Let's go same order again. Kat?
I'm in an iron on who I'm going to go Steph Curry. I originally went Giannis, but I just got this feeling that Steph might get it. I don't know. Do I switch? Yeah, I'll go Giannis. Yeah, I'll change my mind and go Giannis.
Okay, I'll change my mind then. Go Steph.
Okay. Do we have the same two then?
Yes, mate. I was exactly like you.
That's hilarious.
Mikey?
I'm going to stick.
We're going to have to pick someone on team. We got to take someone on Team Durant now because otherwise...
I was going to take Ja Morant. I'm sticking with the theme tonight. So Ja's going to win MVP.
Right, okay. I will go Joel Embiid just to be different. There we go. Right, they're locked in, so I'll have a laugh about that next week. The Mountain Dew 3-point contest. The participants this year are CJ McCollum, Trae Young, Zach LaVine, Desmond Bain, Karl Anthony Towns, Fred VanVleet, Luke Kennard, and Patty Mills. So I'll go the other way this time. So, Mikey, who are you picking to win the 3-point contest?
I'm going to go with CJ McCollum.
You like CJ, don't you?
That's interesting, mate.
I'm going to go CJ McCollum.
I think it's really difficult this year.
It is very difficult.
Really difficult. You've looked in the past and you've been able to say, oh, it's either going to be Steph or it's going to be Klay Thompson. But this year, I think it's really difficult to pick. Really difficult. Go on, let Gary go next.
So I've gone with Zach LaVine. Reason being, I think he's a good shooter anyway. But also, if you look at the stats this season, he's out of everyone involved in this 3-point competition, he's the highest one of the bunch, if you will. So yeah, Zach LaVine. I'm probably well off. It's probably going to be someone completely different, but yeah, I'll stick with Zach, I think.
Just keeping the theme going. That's who I was going to go with, but
that's amazing.
So now I'll go Trae Young. I'll go Trae Young because he's been there before. He's got a bit of experience. He's hopefully not going to be rabbit in the headlights. He's going to not melt under the pressure.
I was going to go Trae Young, but to be different, I am going to go with Luke Kennard just because he's absolutely annihilated us this season. And, well, he's a Dookie. I like, the guys coming out of Duke, JJ and everything. So I will go with Luke Kennard.
And so there was absolutely no way, G. There was absolutely no way that you could pick anybody from the Raptors.
I wasn't packing VanVleet. No way, Jose. Karl Anthony Towns was the other one I was thinking. Yeah. I like Cat.
I like Cat, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Kennard will be able to get the shots up a lot easier. Right. The slam dunk competition, then AT&T slam dunk competition to be precise. So our very own Cole Anthony is up against Juan Toscano Anderson, Obi Toppin, and Jalen Green. So this should be quite straightforward, guys. So let's go to Paul first, seeing as he hasn't been first.
Okay. I want to say Cole.
Well, say Cole.
We've got a history of being done over in these, haven't we? Let's be fair.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
hang on. It's Dwayne Wade. Can anybody check if Dwayne Wade is on the panel?
Let me have a look.
I think Cole will bring something really interesting. I'm sure. I wonder if there's going to be any assistance from Greg. I wonder if he's going to bring his dad out at all. I'd be interested to see. That's stuff.
Jalen and Franz are there as well.
Yeah, I'm going with Cole, mate. Cole. The Magic are going to win something this year.
Yeah. Mikey?
I really want to say Cole. I'm going to go different because I want to be different. I feel like Cole might bring a bit of Nate Robinson, who was probably the last similar sort of size player to have won the dunk competition. You might see something similar to what Nate did. But I'm going to have to put Obi Toppin top of the list. He's my favourite this weekend. So, sorry, Cole. I'm going Obi Toppin, but I hope you win. So,
Gary?
Well, I can't find if Dwayne Wade is on the panel, but last year he wasn't. So if that's anything to go by, then maybe he isn't this year as well. Regarding who, I can't go against Cole. I've got to say Cole because he's one of our players. Again, I'm probably well off, but I'm hoping it's Cole. And if Dwayne Wade's not on the panel, then he's got a better chance of winning it. So,
Yeah, it's normally sort of legends of, the host city. So we might see, Larry Nance Senior.
Yeah, they mentioned last night, didn't they?
Dominique Wilkins is definitely on the panel.
Yeah, he was last year. So last year
night.
it was Dominic Wilkins, Spud Webb, Jason Richardson, Dee Brown, and Josh Smith last year. So, yeah.
Reputable dunkers, unlike Dwayne Wade. Yeah, okay. Right. I'm going Cole. You've got to go Cole. You've got to go Cole. So, absolutely.
On the lone wolf? Sorry, then.
Yeah. You're on an island, mate. You're on an island.
And whilst we're bringing up Dwayne Wade, do any of us buy that nonsense that he was talking about on TNT the other night?
Nope.
I missed that. Nope. What happened?
So, according to Dwayne Wade, the Magic nearly made a trade to acquire him and draft him.
Oh, yeah. I'd heard that the Magic were high on Wade, but I thought you were talking about the Shaq.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure they were drafting like 15th or something that year. So they would have had to have gave up a lot to move that far up the draft to have had a chance of picking D Wade. But yeah, but it's quite it's funny, but it's not funny. If you look at that video, look at T Mac's reaction at the start of the video, and he's like dabbing Shaq, and then at the end he's like sat there and slumping in his chair, thinking we missed out on Dwayne Wade, and we had a chance at Tim Duncan, and neither happened. But there we go. You don't need to bring up old memories. Moving on.
Yeah, there we go. No, you touched upon the Shaq thing there. Shaq saying, I'll come home to play with T-Mac. I don't know if the timelines actually worked, but I saw something on Twitter the other day. Anyway, Forget about it. He's long gone and forgotten. Magic trivia time, then, guys. You can see a big smile appear on Mr. Bacon's face.
I'm ready. I'm in the zone, my man.
Good man, good man. Right. So this week with the All-Star game, Mikey didn't actually get to this last time, I don't think. Orlando Magic participants in the 3-point contest. So there have been 6 players that have represented the Orlando Magic in the 3-point contest. Can you tell me who they are?
I'm going to guess
now, mate, or...
Right, hang on. One at a time, boys. Come on, calm down. Let Gary go first. He's
Gary.
Just like you were shouting out.
I'll go Nick Anderson.
Nick Anderson is right. He was the first participant in 94-95.
3D, do it.
3D was the next person, Paul. Well done. It's like you're reading my sheet. 95-96. Mikey, come on, son.
I'm going to go.
Stinker.
Is it? Are we going in order?
Well, no, you don't have to. I'm just saying that this guy, I really like this guy, and I probably mentioned him on the pod a few times. It's not Matt Harper. I'm
going to guess Jameer might have been one of the 6. No.
Jameer is not one of them. No. So there's 4 more to get.
Somebody you mentioned, Kate.
Redick is not on there. He did participate, but when he was with the Clippers, I think in 2015, 2016.
Oladipo did the dunk contest. I was just out of interest, you mention him occasionally. Beatrice
is not on the list. No.
I'm only going on what you mentioned.
Yeah, I can tell you the jersey numbers if you want. Would that help?
Probably not.
Yeah. Right, one was on the finals team in 09. One was on the finals team in 09. Rashard Lewis was on 08-09. Sweet Lou.
What about Scott Skiles?
No Skiles. So the years we're missing are 2000, 2001, and 11-12, and 13-14.
What about T-Mac? Probably wasn't on there.
Nope, no T-Mac.
Mike Miller?
Anderson?
Right, hang on. Mike Miller, no. Turkoglu, no. Paul, what do you say?
Anderson? Ryan Anderson.
Ryan Anderson is right. 2011, 2012. So we are missing 2 now. One from 2000, 2001, and one from 2013, 2014. Eyes up, Mikey. Eyes up. You're not looking at your phone,
There's nothing here. Look, you can have a look. Eyes on the prize.
What was the latest one, G?
2013, 2014, mate. And he was a 2-guard, if that helps.
So, wait. I mentioned, I know he did the slam dunk, but did Vic do it?
No, not Vic.
Can't remember. I can't remember him playing.
Think of
doing the 3
think of the 2-guard. The 2-guard before him.
Aflalo?
Aaron Aflalo.
Good shout.
Was the participant in 2013, 2014. Now, the last one is 2000, 2001. And I'll give you a clue then. He was he played for the Phoenix Suns and he was traded to the Orlando Magic for Penny Hardaway, if that helps.
Not for me.
He wore number 8.
Oh, Pat Garrity.
Pat Garrity for the win. Yes, Garrity rounds him off. So Nick Anderson, 94-95. Dennis Scott, 95-96. Pat Garrity, 2000-2001. Rashard Lewis, 08-09. Rhino, 11-12. He did also participate in 12-13. He was on the Pelicans. And Aaron Aflalo, 2013-14. It's about time we had another person participate. It's a shame Cole's not in there. Anyway, I've got...
can shoot a 3.
Yeah, I know. Right, I've got one more stinker in relation to the 3-point competition. So the most consecutive shots made in a 3-point contest ever, and you had a maximum of 25 shots you can get to. Obviously, 4 plus the money ball. So I'll just go around the table. Just tell me what's the maximum consecutive amounts of shots that were made. I won't ask you who it was because you won't get it. And it's not Steph Curry. So out of 25. Gary, do you want to hazard a guess?
Go somewhere else first. I don't know.
All right.
Yeah,
All right, we'll go up north.
22.
Land of gravy and chips. 22 for Paul, right?
What's wrong with that?
No, there's nothing wrong with that, mate. I love it.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, I know. Mikey?
So long as you've got your mushy peas on the chips as well, mate.
I'm going to go...
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to go 19.
All right. And Gar?
I'll go 1 up from Mikey. I'll go 20.
20. Right. Okay. So the answer was Craig Hodges. I think he played for the Chicago Bulls at the time. In 1991, hit 19 consecutive 3-point field goals in a 3-point competition.
That's impressive.
It is, isn't it? The second most after that is Steph Curry with, anyone want to guess?
18?
18?
17?
18?
13.
13?
Wow.
Yeah. And then, I've been right down the rabbit hole today. David Steele would be proud.
I was saying, we found David Steele down there.
Yeah, he was down there, you know. And then next
Polishing
after
his
that
award.
is...
Yeah.
Next after that was Joe Harris from 2019 when he hit 12 consecutive. So that's quite a record there from Craig Hodges. So there we go. That's your trivia, boys. Right, so that'll wrap it up this week. Thank you, Gary, for joining us. Hope you had a good time, buddy.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me. It's been an honour. Obviously, like I said at the start, we've been trying to get it to happen, but yeah, we're finally here. So cheers, guys. It's been amazing.
You're welcome, good, mate. And we look forward to seeing you in October in Orlando. And anybody else who's planning on going to Orlando, first couple of weeks, please do let us know. We'll probably set up some sort of WhatsApp group or something just to discuss what we might do. So thanks as always for listening and watching. Please subscribe to the podcast and hit the notification button so as to not miss any future episodes. Please make sure to visit the website at orlandomagic.uk.com. For the latest news, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, all at Orlando Magic UK. All our links are featured in the podcast description. So from Mikey, Paul, Gary, and myself, until next time, go Magic.
Go Magic.
Go Magic.